In this video, we will talk about the only person who has ever smoked in the White House.
The bathroom, man. Then, like, it's over there. I check the surroundings, make sure ain't no CIA around, just to see if anything gonna happen. Tissue works, boom. Next thing I do is pull that thing out my sock. I heard somebody coming.
He's a streamer.
This. Everything with bet.
An actor.
No, Chris, I can't let you smoke my homeboy like that, man.
And of course, a legendary rapper. Today, we'll be talking about Snoop Dogg.
It's the one and only Eagle Double G.
Snoop Dogg! This gangster has a criminal history. He was a drug dealer, he was accused of murder, and he occasionally wasn't ashamed to show his frustration to the public.
Y'all don't love us! Y'all don't love us!
However, a little while later, he went from tough to kind and began making cool pop songs.
Pigs try to get at you. Park it like it's hard. Park it like it's hard. Park it like it's hard.
In this video, you will find out the full history behind his life story.
We had got to the point.
Clown and cow.
Where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is Base 44.
Snoop Dogg, whose real name is Calvin Cortazar Broadus Jr., was born on October 20th, 1971 in Long Beach, California. 3 months after his birth, his father left the family, and his mother was the sole caretaker of the family. As a child, Snoop Dogg spent a lot of time outdoors, playing with friends and exploring the neighborhood. Young Snoop had a good childhood in the 70s, but in the mid-80s, everything changed when the drug game was offered to him. It caused divisions at home and eventual separation from his mother. She kicked him out of the house when he was 17 years old. He slept in his car for 2 months before being taken in by a woman who became, in a way, his adoptive aunt.
It was like I learned how to be like a counselor. I learned how to be like all of this as a kid.
Does that feel like it helped you now?
I swear to God, it does.
Initially, he wanted to become an athlete, his interests being football and basketball. He looked up to athletes like Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Muhammad Ali, and Sugar Ray Leonard. Also, Snoop grew an interest for acting and music. In the end, he chose music. His introduction to hip-hop began from Count Cool Out and Jimmy Spider.
When I reached the age of the cool 16, I went to the college on the rhythm scene. And though I had math, gym, and history, I didn't get to dance with them all that night, cause at the break of dawn, I saw a sun like a...
His first rap lyrics were so bad because he rapped about things that he didn't have, and he was lying about who he was. Snoop was better at freestyling than in writing lyrics.
You remember the first lyrics you wrote, the first song that you wrote? It was a song called I'm a Poet.
How old were you?
Probably about 11 or 12.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of that song?
It was garbage.
It was bad.
So in junior high school, he formed a rap duo with Sean, who was 1 grade below him. His friend had equipment at home, so the tracks were recorded at his place. If anything, in the future, Sean will also grow up to be a rapper, and he would perform under the pseudonym of Domino. Also, he began actively communicating with Nate Dogg and Warren G. He met Nate when Snoop got to Poly in '86. They often had the same classes, so with every passing day, their friendship only got stronger. Warren G knew Snoop ever since he was a kid. They lived in the same neighborhood, went to the same elementary school, and played football together.
Before it began to do a both combination, I'm coming correct with another illustration.
Influenced by his then idol Richie Rich, whose group was called 415, they formed a group called the 213. Initially, it included another one of Nate's cousins, Lil Half Dead, but then he went solo. There was a studio in a shop in LA, and that's where they recorded their first track, Long Beach is a Mother. All of these guys loved hip-hop, but at the beginning, nothing worked out. Snoop stopped believing in himself after a trip with the guys to Hollywood, where he let certain people listen to his local cassette. In response to hearing these recordings, They told him something like, "Sorry bro, we're looking for something similar to DJ Quick." This broke Snoop's heart, and he seriously considered the idea of not making music anymore. Warren is like an older brother for Snoop, and he always supported it and believed in it. When Snoop went nuts and threw away sheets with lyrics, Warren went through the trash can and picked out all that he had thrown out because he saw potential in it. Warren believed in Snoop more than Snoop believed in his own self. Warren's dad always told him, "Get the fuck out of the drug dealing business and fuck off to the studio to Dr. Dre to write music for fuck's sake." Warren G happens to be the legendary producer's cousin. One time at a party, Warren gave Dre samples of his music, and the latter was impressed with Snoop's skills. Later, when Dre left Ruthless Records, he became one of the founders of Death Row. Suge Knight led the process, and Dre looked for artists. And of course, Snoop Dogg became his favorite. Although, honestly speaking, Knight wasn't immediately impressed with Snoop. At the very beginning, Knight didn't see much potential in Snoop as he did in other artists, and he even voiced his doubts about his talent. But Dre insisted on giving him a chance, and Snoop successfully made use of that chance. One day, Suge got very specific creative direction from the film company. They wanted a song to go along with the plot of the movie. Lawrence Fishburne starred in the drama as Russell Stevens Jr., a cop recruited by the DEA to go undercover on a narcotics trafficking case. While posing as a drug dealer, Stevens discovered corruption on the law enforcement side as well. Suge called and said that Snoop should record a verse, and he should do it urgently.
I'm finna call with these people from Sony on the phone. They think the song is done, so I need you to rap your ass off till I say cut it off, and then we gon' blah, blah. Sugar.
And this is how the legendary Deep cover came to be.
Wow. Wait.
During that time, Dre began working on his debut album, The Chronic. The single from the album was Nothing But a G Thing.
It's like this and like that and like this and it's like that and like this and like that and
Snoop partakes in 10 out of the 16 tracks. Thanks to this release, more and more people started to find out about Snoop.
Late night, I wonder what they getting from. Early morning on the corners, what they hitting from.
At that time, Dre had a beef with Eazy-E, and Snoop had to stick up for his friend and mentor.
Fuck Mr. Rourke and Tattoo, aka Jerry and Easy. Check my homie, you best check yourself, cause when you diss Dre, you diss yourself.
That's how I was with Eazy-E, nigga. I loved Eazy-E.
Right as a kid.
But I never could be friends with Eazy-E when I got with Dr. Dre. I could never say, damn, Eazy, you a bad, what you call you? So I always had to be like, nigga.
How many niggas out there like Eazy-E? Easy motherfucker.
Well, I did not like Jerry.
Because that's the stance I was
Oh,
in.
man.
Did you ever get to tell her?
Never.
Oh, man.
Never.
In 1993, Snoop's debut and most popular album, Doggy Style, was released, and it was produced by Dr. Dre. After the release of this cover, Snoop became a superstar. And it is worth admitting that it was this specific album that took G-Funk sound and gangsta rap to the next level. And if previously people had feared gangsta rap, then this album showed the complete opposite. It showed that it is possible to dance to it and have a good time.
So much drama in the LBC. It's time to hard being Snoop D-Lo Double G. The depths of the sea. Back to the block. Snoop Doggy Dogg Funky at the dock.
Snoop was the main superstar in Death Row Records. And that was the case until Tupac showed up. The fact that Pac is most likely joining the label became known at the tragic Source Awards of 1995 when Suge Knight said hey to Tupac.
Like to tell Tupac, keep his guards up, we ride with him.
But then he dissed Puff Daddy.
Any artist out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star and don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing, come to Death Row.
These words ruined the friendship between Bad Boy and Death Row. After that, the Hall started reacting to the West Coast rappers differently, which was felt by Snoop Dogg himself when he came out on stage with Dr. Dre when his friend won the Producer of the Year nomination.
Dre had won the award, and he was about to say something. I just took the mic and was like, fuck, I need to say something.
The East Coast don't love Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. The East Coast ain't got no love for Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Death Row. Y'all don't love us. Y'all don't love us. Well, let it be known then. We know y'all East Coast. We know we at East Coast.
I mean, we could fast forward, but at that moment, did you feel like, man, that was a lot? Did you understand the size of it then?
Nah.
After this scandalous ceremony, Suge flew to Tupac, who was accused of sexual assault, to make bail of $1.4 million. By the way, Snoop was one of those who asked Suge to free Pac. And so, after the release from prison, Snoop took part in the All Eyes on Me album.
Doing your job every day, and then you work so hard till your hair turns.
However, after Tupac's arrival, everything changed. He became the closest person to Suge. Pac wrote tracks as he went, but with Dre's meticulousness in making music, he didn't like it. And to add to that, he didn't like the atmosphere at Death Row. He decided to walk out, and Snoop was in disbelief, as he did not discuss this decision with him prior. He anyway continued working on his second solo album, The Dogfather, at a time when Pac and Suge were saying that they didn't need Dre. Snoop didn't agree with that. He greatly respected Dre, but he understood that if he wants to go to Dre, then he'd be in trouble. Oh, and at that time, Pac also had an ongoing beef with Biggie and the entire crew at Bad Boy Records. One of the reasons why Tupac recorded the Hit 'Em Up diss track has to do with when Snoop Dogg and the Dogg Pound recorded the music video for New York, New York. Snoop said the following on Hot 97. "Guys, come to Times Square. We'll be shooting a music video." And Biggie was super confused as to how his hometown allowed them to shoot a music video. And he even mentioned Pac's name even though he wasn't there. I quote, "I can't believe New York allows the Dogg Pound and Tupac to shoot a clip in our city, in the heart of Times Square."
All right, look, I don't know who need to hear this, but my man just tried that new 100 milligram generic Viagra for only 87 cents a piece.
And that was sort of kind of like why Tupac had like animosity towards me, because he knew that that happened to me, and he suspected that that happened to him by the same circle, and I was still willing to forgive. When he was locked up, I was the gangster. So when he gets out, he expected me to stay the gangster.
The pinnacle was when Tupac, Snoop, and the whole Death Row crew were in New York in early September 1996 for the 1996 MTV Music Video Awards. First, Snoop did not show up for rehearsal and recording of his appearance with Tupac on Saturday Night Live. Then, in full East-West feud, Snoop went on a local radio station stating that he had nothing but love for Biggie and Puffy. Tupac was especially offended because, as Napoleon of the Outlaws recently said in an interview, Snoop and Tupac had been recording songs dissing the two just before Snoop uttered these words.
Bro, I heard it. I remember he called us in the studio and was like, "Pop, listen, I got at him. Listen to the lyrics." You know what I mean? We heard it. Everybody, it was known back then.
And he also said he didn't like Hit 'Em Up.
When he played Hit 'Em Up the song, I didn't like the song.
Yeah, did you feel like it was
I didn't
too
like
much?
it.
Although, as once again Napoleon says, Snoop was jamming to this track.
And for Snoop to say he never liked Hit 'Em Up and he didn't, you know what I mean, he never expressed that. You know, you got videos of him on stage with Pac rapping Hit 'Em Up, and he's rapping the lyrics right along with him.
The final meeting between Pac and Snoop was extremely toxic and uncomfortable for Snoop. When they arrived at the airport, Suge asked for Snoop's bodyguard to fly commercial, even though Suge's friends and Pac's guard flew with them on a private jet. Here, the protagonist of our video understood that there's something not right here. When they took their seats on the plane, this is what happened.
Pac right here, a couple other right here. I'm like, what's up, Pac? And they do me like this.
Then Snoop went to the end of the plane, grabbed a blanket, and held a fork and knife under it, and sat there in this position for the entire flight. The most interesting part is that despite the fact that their flight took 4.5 hours, not Suge nor Tupac said a single word to him the entire flight. And the final conversation between Pac and Snoop was the following.
I'm like, Pac, you going to Vegas to the fight? I said.
And then Pac gets killed after a Mike Tyson fight.
I drove down there to the hospital because I wanted to see my nigga, you know what I'm saying, make sure he was straight. I'm thinking that he was gonna make it.
Snoop fell into a serious depression, not knowing what comes next.
I feel
But he
like
knew that
Suge
it needs to end.
Pac
Plus, he was all about peace.
The only thing we
trying
can do to make it
seem
easy
like
is get
he
together
did,
and try to
you know
make
what I'm
songs,
saying?
try to go on
Yeah.
tour together, and show that it's not a rivalry, it's peace. And that's, from my point of view, I got my hand out to any rapper that want to go on the road with me and make some money and make it happen.
In 1996, Nye was in jail for violating his parole during a shootout in Las Vegas. Snoop wanted to end the conflict with Bad Boy Records and wanted to ask Suge what he thought of that.
The word I get was, it wasn't from him, but the word that got back to me. That's it.
And in fact, this decision by Snoop led to their relationship completely getting ruined. The Dogfather was released at the end of 1996, yet it couldn't repeat the success of the first album, Doggy Style. In this album, there's not a single verse from Pac and not a single beat from Dre. Yeah, and the album clearly differs from the first one, which is why many didn't like it to begin with.
Like a dub, I come from up above. You tripping on your girl, cause she showed me love.
I was so gangster on my intro and so gangster with the way I was living. Like, why don't you want to be gangster anymore? Well, how about I'm fighting a murder case? And when I win this murder case, I want to do right by the system, by God, and by the way I was raised. All of the things that happened to me that were negative, I manifested.
But Snoop had to finally put an end to the war between the East and West Coast, which is why I think he was, at that moment in time, more concentrated on that issue than on the release of the album. In 1997, him and P. Diddy met to attempt and say, once again, that the beef has ended.
It's all good between me and him. That's my people.
For real, that's what we came in for. We came in to light it up and ride it up. We make music for everybody.
After that, Snoop had to use bodyguards against Suge, as his life was in danger.
He wanted action when I was in the blind, when I didn't have no help, when I didn't have no team, and when he could stack a team.
And further, when Knight was sentenced to his 9th year behind bars, Snoop used the opportunity and signed a contract with No Limit Records. Master P gave Suge millions of dollars to free Snoop Dogg.
Whenever I speak on death row, it brings back bad vibes, and I don't really like dwelling on it.
During his time in prison, Suge gave an interview where he mentioned Snoop Dogg, hinting that he's a snitch and what Snoop did to become part of the gang. After that, Suge said that Tupac was envied by many, including Snoop Dogg.
Some artists knew, but like Pac and Snoop at the end hated each other. And you could tell that by the simple fact that when Snoop did Dogfather, Pac was not on not one song. And Pac didn't like Dre. That would change the Death Row camp because of the jealousy of Tupac. Because Tupac is all of a sudden now, he's this major star, he getting all the light, he getting all the attention.
Later, Snoop Dogg released a track where he dissed his former producer. In the track, he says that Suge ruined the hip-hop industry and calls him a bitch, just like his wife Michelle, who, according to rumors, slept with a lot of people before marrying him in the year of 1999.
Niggas are like his wife, Suge Knight's and that's on my life.
Suge Knight recently said he used to be a superstar and now he's just a no-limit soldier. What do you say to that?
And he used to be a CEO, now he's just an inmate.
No, it was Tony.
Monster Math presents multiplication. Okay, class, let's begin. What is 4 times 3? Click here to try it on Monster Math.
Not many know this, but Snoop also wanted to release an album by the name of Fuck Death Row. However, Master P talked him out of this idea, even though the rapper was given $1 million for such a release of this magnitude. But if he had released it anyway, who knows if Snoop would have been alive to this day or not. However, a few tracks were leaked online, and this is one of them.
No more days to prance around on the streets. I got to watch my back and get some motherfucking heat.
In his own documentary film, Suge talked about how he saved everybody and got stabbed in the back in return.
I took on a fight for these clowns because I didn't want them getting robbed. And they crossed me.
Here, Suge talks about a moment that we didn't talk about before. An incident took place in 1993 that could have led to Snoop ending up behind bars. Philip Woldemariam, a member of a rival gang, was shot by the bodyguard of a rapper called McKinley Lee. According to Malik's words, Woldemariam reached for his gun, but Malik turned out to be faster.
Tried to run at us, and the guy grabbed him, he pushed him. And when he pushed him, he reached. And when he reached, that's when I fired.
Snoop himself went to the police and turned himself in. Suge Knight didn't like such a dynamic, and he went on Interscope and said Snoop Dogg should be freed or else he'd be losing a major star. In the end, Snoop was released on bail in the amount of $1 million. But the issue wasn't over yet.
Damn, man, you got a murder, man, and you out? Suge made shit happen.
During the trial, Snoop's debut album, Doggy Style, was #1 worldwide. And the rapper celebrated the success of his hit song, Murder Was the Case. The prosecutors built a large part of their case around the album's violent lyrics. Interscope did everything so that he would not end up in prison. In court, lawyers said that this is self-defense. The police didn't even look further into this case. The victim was a gangster, and Snoop was represented like the biggest rapper in the world. In the very end, him and the bodyguard were acquitted of the murder charges. Suge lost almost $10 million over this case. After the case was closed, Snoop gave the lawyer who wanted to charge him a lot of shit.
All them pennies you put on the table, they mounted up to nothing. Bobby Grace, nothing. Uncle Tom's nephew, from me to you.
But do you feel he was doing his job?
No, he wasn't doing his job. If he was doing his job, he would have called the case off. That's doing your job. Seek justice. He knew he was not guilty. He knew that. He knew McKinley Lee acted in self-defense. McKinley Lee has never, ever, ever, ever been involved with gangs. I have. McKinley Lee has never been involved with gangs. He was the trigger man. So what's the whole case about? Oh, it's about Snoop Dogg being gang affiliated, but Snoop Dogg didn't pull the trigger. He drove the car away from his bodyguard acting in self-defense.
After that, the tension in their relationship persisted. Suge repeatedly announced that Snoop is a backstabber, and he quit the label during a tough period and moved to No Limit Records. He also voiced the idea that Snoop should have been more grateful for the opportunity that Death Row gave him in his career. They even met up in 2013 and sorted out their issues, and everything was seemingly fine between them. It wasn't until the year 2022, after Snoop Dogg acquired Death Row, and Knight made some comments in which he expressed his disappointment. He said that this event doesn't bring him joy because, according to him, Snoop just took over his old home and used it for personal interests. Knight made it clear that Snoop still does not understand that Death Row was built on his own work, effort, and business decisions. He also claimed that Snoop just took it because he had the opportunity to, but that he does not consider him the true owner of it in the way that it was during Knight's time. All right, but come on. Now let's get back to the 90s, as we've already skipped too much ahead, as there were a lot of interesting things that went on. After Snoop joined No Limit, he reunited with Dre. His mentor produced 3 tracks for his album No Limit Top Dog.
The money everywhere that I go. I bust a bitch and take her money for show.
And then the album 2001 was released. Snoop was a vital part of the album. Still DRE and the next episode became legendary tracks. And, well, the entire album in general is considered a classic.
Representing for the gangsters all across the world. Still hitting them corners and them lolos, girl. It's the one and only Eagle Double G.
By the way, guys, we have an entire separate video about the friendship between Dre and Snoop. It's super important for you to take a look at that video after finishing up with this documentary. At that time, Dre was also working with 50 Cent on Get Rich or Die Trying, and Snoop appeared in the remix of PIMP.
Girl, I got my now lady gators on. I'm about to show you how my pimp hand is way strong.
An example of yet another wonderful producer that Snoop worked with is Pharrell. In the 2002 album called Paid the Cost to Be the Boss, their first collab song was titled Beautiful, which essentially became the most popular from the record. What's most interesting is that Pharrell absolutely didn't like this song, as according to him, in this record, his singing is flat. And, well, already in 2004, the one and only Drop It Like It's Hot was released on Rhythm and Gangsta, the Masterpiece. As Snoop says, prior to this acquaintance, he thought that he needed to be tough to be respected. But Pharrell brought out a different side of it, where he could be cheerful and smile, and he would still be respected regardless. And so, in that moment, he parted ways with his gangster style.
Pigs try to get at you. Park it like it's hard. Park it like it's hard. Park it like it's hard.
Also, Snoop, Nate, and Warren finally decided to record their first and only album for the 213 group. But still, if we look back at his solo career, he released a few major hit songs in collaboration with Akon and Katy Perry.
Take a picture with me. What the flick gon' do? Baby, stick to me, and I'ma stick on you.
I still think that Still DRE and Drop It Like It's Hot for sure make it to the top 3 main hit songs in Snoop's career. But I do think that the third place would go to Young, Wild, and Free. In 2011, Snoop lost a friend. And now we're talking about Nate Dogg. On March 15, 2011, Nathaniel Dwayne Hale died at age 41 in Long Beach of complications of multiple strokes. Snoop posted the following on Twitter. We lost a true legend in hip-hop and R&B, one of my best friends and a brother to me since 1986 when I was a sophomore at Poly High where we met. I miss you, cuz. I'm so sad, but so happy I got to grow up with you. And I will see you again in heaven, because you know the slogan, I love you, buddy love. And a year later, he honored Tupac's memory together with Dre. A hologram of the legendary rapper appeared at Coachella. Then Snoop once again changed his style and became someone similar to Bob Marley. And a large number of people considered this as a disrespectful act toward the legendary musician.
Snoop Lion is the progression of Snoop Dogg. He's the growth into the maturity and has a third eye. He's able to speak on issues that Snoop Dogg couldn't speak on because Snoop Dogg was a part of the problem and Snoop Lion is a part of the solution.
He only adopted this style for a short period of time, like 1 or 2 years. This stage in his career began in 2012, when he announced that he'd taken on a new name and style inspired by his interest in reggae and soul searching. This happened after his trip to Jamaica, where Snoop immersed in the reggae culture and got to know the local musicians, including producer Diplo and his team from Major Lazer. He adopted the name Snoop Lion and released the album titled Reincarnated in 2013, which was entirely focused on reggae and included topics such as love, peace, and spirituality. In this album, Snoop Dogg took on a new style of music, which was completely unexpected for his fans who were used to hip-hop. However, already in 2014, Snoop went back to his previous ways and style. He explained the name Snoop Lion became a very important stage for him in his journey of self-discovery and in his music, but that he had chosen the name Snoop Dogg again because it was more suitable for his future work. By the way, while in this style, Snoop participated in the shooting of Scary Movie 5, where you all saw him and you remember this legendary scene.
I chose the domain name joshharmon.tv because I think about my content like a little television show.
We're gonna roll one blunt, we're gonna get up out of here. Just one? Just one.
They won't care, huh? Man, just keep running.
remember.
Snoop tried many different roles for himself, from being an entrepreneur to a lead host on his own show. But I want to think that many agree he was a hell of a streamer.
Friendly? Hey, so you friendly or not?
Like funny flippers, man.
Hey, look here, I'm gonna ask you one more time, are you friendly or not?
I am friendly. Look, I'm dancing.
Okay, turn around, let me see what you're working with. Don't cry. Oh my God. Oh yeah, you fuck.
My nigga.
This shit. Fucking with everything with back.
My opinion is that his most legendary moment is when he forgot to turn off the stream. And when he returned home 8 hours later, he was shocked at how this had happened.
Picture bit, but after you know why. Am I still streaming?
I just found out he's streamed, though.
Oh, I hope not.
But unfortunately, sometimes Snoop Dogg still used to find himself involved in conflicts. And this happened with a close person to him, Eminem. In 2020, Snoop Dogg spoke about the relationship with Dr. Dre and naturally did not forget to mention Eminem. Snoop said that Eminem is White Hope in rap. However, he is not in the top 10. What's more is that he could live without his music.
He could be labeled as one of the top 10 rappers ever. I don't think so. But the game feels like he's top 10 lyricists and all that comes with it. But that's just because he's with Dr. Dre, and Dr. Dre helped him find the best Eminem that he could find. When you're talking about this hip-hop that I can't live without, I can live without that.
Eminem responded in the song Zeus. Marshall said that he's used to being dissed, but not from people from his own circle.
Like a damn god to me. Nah, not really. I had dog backwards.
After the diss track, Snoop posted the following on Instagram. People can't communicate, think everything is an argument. Back in the day, if someone hated you, it meant you did something wrong. Nowadays, it means you did something right. And later, Eminem discussed the situation on Shade 45, where he said that when Snoop talked about him in an interview, it was all acceptable until the point when Snoop Dogg said that he could live without Eminem's music. And Marshall considered that disrespectful.
Like, everything was good until, like, it was more like, I think it was more about the tone he was using that caught me off guard, because I'm like, yo, where is this coming from? I just saw you, like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, it threw me for a loop. Again, I probably could have got past the whole tone and everything, but it was the last statement when he said, as far as music I can live without, I can live without that shit. Now you're being disrespectful for, like, it just caught me off guard.
On an Eminem fan page, Snoop reacted to these words and said, "Pray I don't answer that soft ass." In 2021, Snoop showed a snippet of the song Talk That Shit to Me, in which we could hear a handful of alleged references about Eminem. The beginning of the song starts with the words urging Eminem to calm down. And then, in the second verse, he mentions the word kamikaze. And Kamikaze is the name of Eminem's album from the year 2018.
Kamikaze put me in my concentration camp. Oh, we had to take it back, cause really ain't no cake.
This so-called beef could have gained more fuel. However, after Dr. Dre ended up in the hospital with a brain aneurysm, fans urged them to sit at the negotiations table. In an Instagram post where we see Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Eminem, he captioned the post saying that everything is all right. In 2021, Snoop gave an interview in which he apologized to Eminem.
And I felt like I was out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? And I apologized to him and I let him know. And I'm just bettering myself. You know what I'm saying? I make mistakes. I ain't perfect. I'm Snoop Dogg.
In 2022, Eminem and Snoop Dogg collaborated together. And they also recorded an interview where they mentioned the legendary music video for Still D.R.E. And Eminem forgot he took part in the music video.
You on the beach running on that video?
Was I in that video?
Yeah, you was running on the beach. That was like your debut album.
I was?
You was running on the beach.
Why?
With no clothes on. You was running on the beach with damn near no clothes on.
I don't think, what?
There was a bunch of girls around you and all of a sudden...
Oh, yeah, okay. Now I remember.
Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, Dre had you right up in there.
In that same year, the legendary event of the Super Bowl halftime show took place, in which Dr. Dre was responsible for. And of course, one of the participants of this show was Snoop Dogg, where they rapped the legendary tracks together with Eminem, 50 Cent, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar. Dre and Snoop started to once again actively work on music. And at the end of 2024, the second album of Snoop's career was released, which was fully produced by his mentor.
Negotiating, never settle for less. I never lose, always winning when I shuffle a deck.
Since the first album was titled Doggy Style, then this one was titled Missionary. I guess it's not necessary to explain how and why they came up with the title of this album.
Since you're already playing games anyway, why not earn some free rewards while you're at it? All you need to do is download Buff, let it run in the background as you play, and just like that you'll start earning Buff points. These can be used in the
What's your favorite position? Jimmy's been a missionary for 30 years.
And throughout the entirety of this video, we did not tell you where the name Snoop Dogg came from. The reason why he's called Snoop Dogg is because his mother, Beverly Tate, nicknamed him after a character called Snoopy. He was a fan of the Peanuts cartoon, which has the Snoopy character. And the most interesting part is that she never called him by his real name. And I remind you that his actual name is Calvin.
They ain't never called me nothing but Snoopy my whole life. I ain't never heard my real name. My whole life. That's my whole life. Yeah. Never heard my real name ever come out of her mouth.
Jeez Louise, Bobby T. Make them look at Snoop Dogg. Jeez Louise.
In 2021, his mom passed away when she was 70 years old.
She always loved me doing what I do, to make people happy, to inspire, to influence. So I didn't want to be down and take my spirit down with everybody else that loves me. And in the spirit of her, she raised me to be Snoop Dogg, so.
No matter how controversial he can be at times, Snoop still deserves a tribute. He's a flawless hip-hop legend who contributed majorly to the culture, whom an entire generation grew up listening to, and who always makes others smile.
You ain't gonna just double team the little homie like that, cuz. Get off your back. You gotta stand up. Stand up. There you go. On your feet. What you gonna do? You just up here just watching.
You gotta find the energy that the universe provides for you to keep you in a safe space. And some people don't do that. They always go to the negative energy, or they try to find ways to, impress people instead of trying to be the best version of themselves. I've learned to love more than hate, and that's the overall thing of it all, just to try to learn to love more, because it's easy to hate, but it's hard to love.
The next video I recommend you watch is the history of the friendship between Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. Subscribe to the channel, and see you soon.